Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's time for Ask Huda. I'm your host, Fuad Muhammad. We have on the show today, all the way from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Asim Luqman Al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh, and it's a pleasure having you on the show today.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and the pleasure is all mine.
Jazakallah khair. Just before we take our first questions, we would like all the telephone calls to be in the very beginning of the program, inshallah. Just a quick reminder of our telephone numbers, 00-202-38555, 248 or 249. Or you can send an email to us at ask@huda.tv. Okay, from the last show, Sheikh, we have Sister Amina from Nigeria. She said, if a sick person tries everything that is available in terms of medicine, doctors, and they can't find a cure, is there a possibility that it could be jinn? And if it is, what is the right Islamic way to do ruqyah?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala abdihi wa rasulihi al-ameen. Nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has instructed us by saying, O servants of Allah, seek medication, seek treatment, for Allah did not create an illness without creating a remedy or medicine for it. Mm-hmm. Therefore, there isn't any such thing as an illness without medication. The only illness that there is no cure for it is old age, as also indicated by the Prophet ﷺ in an authentic hadith. So they should try and look. And the second thing I'd like to bring the attention of the viewers to is that the sister said that after giving all their efforts in trying to allocate the proper medicine to this particular illness and we're not successful, can they refer to ruqyah? And this is the other way around. They should have resorted to ruqyah as their first option. Mm-hmm. Because they, by performing ruqyah, are seeking Allah's guidance, Allah's help, and Allah's support in curing this illness that cannot be cured except by Allah Azza wa Jal.
Subhanallah.
The third thing I'd like to point out is that it is a tendency among Muslims that they put the blame of all of their failures in marriages, at school, in work, and their illnesses upon the jinn. And this may have some truth to it. Yes. Jinn, evil eye, black magic, envy, etc. This may have some truth to it, but it is not the norm. Mm-hmm. To put 95% of our failures over these things, this is wrong. Hypothetically speaking, let's assume that it is the cause of jinn, then definitely ruqyah would help. And how to do ruqyah, how to perform ruqyah, this takes a lot of time to explain, but it is very easy. All what you have to do is you have to believe in what you're saying. And you have to believe in who you are saying it to. Mm-hmm. Meaning that you have to believe in Allah and you're seeking His guidance and help. You recite Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the best ruqyah ever. 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, odd numbers. Mm-hmm. You recite Ayat Al-Kursi. You recite the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. You recite the last 3 chapters of the Quran. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِالْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِالنَّاسِ. Odd numbers. Mm-hmm. And you blow over the sick person, or you blow over Zamzam water, mm-hmm. and have him drink from it and wash his face or the area that hurts him, and with the grace of Allah, he would be cured.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We have Brother Muhammad from Sierra Leone. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live and ask your questions, please.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, my question is, when you sujood, you feel you are closer to God Almighty Allah. And you can make
Brother
supplication.
Muhammad, we would really appreciate if you can call us back because the line is very bad. If you can please call us back again on the program. The line is very bad. I can't understand what you're saying. I'm very sorry for that. Apology, please. We have Brother Muhammad from Qatar here, Sheikh, and he says, is it from the Sunnah that someone makes dua by prostrating even after the Salah? Is this from the Sunnah?
No, it is not part of the Sunnah. Prostration should only be during Salat. There are two types of prostration that are excluded from this general trend, and that is the prostration of shukr, or gratefulness, or thankfulness, and the prostration of recitation. So these two types of prostrations, you can do them even if you're not in Salah, because they are not part of the Salah. But just simply to prostrate and ask Allah for something outside of the Salah, this is an innovation.
Okay, and the second question is also regarding prayers, Salah. He said in the Sunnah prayers, can someone make dua in other languages?
Well, this is an issue of dispute among scholars. The most authentic opinion is that as long as you say the mandatory things in Salah in Arabic, you can supplicate, you can make dua in your own native language. So if you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la in your prostration 3 times to 10 times or whatever, afterwards, if you supplicate, if you make dua, if you make request to Allah Azza wa Jal in your own native language, this is permissible and there's nothing wrong in that.
But it is only allowed in the Sunnah prayers?
In both.
In both.
Yes, whatever you can do in Sunnah, you can do in Fard. This is the general rule. Unless there is a specific guidance or specific instruction from the Prophet ﷺ to say otherwise. For example, it is permissible for us to pray while traveling, while riding a car, an animal, or the plane, even if we head to any direction other than the Qibla. But this is specifically stated in the case of voluntary prayers.
Yes.
Because the hadith tells us that whenever the Prophet wanted to pray, ﷺ, mandatory prayers, he would stop and get off his ride and pray on the ground.
Okay, we have Sister Yasmin from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, you're live and ask their questions, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, Sheikh. Good evening, brother. Hello?
Yes. Can you raise your voice a bit, Sister Yasmin?
Yeah, okay. I have 2 questions, please.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one is it's concerning a married couple, and they want to know the solution to their problem. It seems that their marital relationship is very unstable, and they're always having conflict. They always have this moment of separation for some time, and then they will reconcile, but I think it's getting worse.
Okay.
And the relationship seems to be falling apart. There seems to be no more love, respect, and caring for each other.
Okay.
So the question is what is Islamically acceptable? Should they just keep this relationship of separating without having to communicate, or is it better to resort to divorce to have both of them to have the peace of mind?
Okay, got it.
And then the second question is, concerning a person whom I have loaned money to. It's quite a big amount. And then, of course, the contract we entered into is Islamic. And then, but the person who borrowed money from me is a non-Muslim. So he had entered into a riba with another a loaning company or a bank, I think, and so the money he paid me has a riba.
Okay.
But for me, concerning our contract, it's clean, it's Islamic. So
Okay.
is it acceptable for me? Do I have
Okay,
any
got it,
liability
Sister
on this
Yasmin.
issue?
Okay, Jazakallah khair. That's Sister Yasmin there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We have Sister Hasina from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, you're live and ask their questions, please.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to ask, is the niqab compulsory for women?
Okay. That's it? Okay, that's Sister Hasina there
Yes.
from the UAE. Jazakallah khair. Let's take Sister Yasmin's question. She says, if there is a marriage between two persons and they're finding it almost impossible from the way she described it to live together. Every time they have problems coming up and then they reconcile and then they separate. She wants to know what is the best option. Is it best to separate without having a relationship, not speaking to each other, or a divorce?
Well, there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer to it.
Yes.
Marriage has its ups and downs. And one of the main reasons for this is that the spouses don't know their rights. Well, actually, they do know their rights to the fullest, but they don't know their obligations. So I know my rights, and I always demand them. But what are my obligations? This is none of your business. I just want my rights to be paid for me and be given to me. So I believe that these ups and downs can be easily solved if the intention was pure and if they sought the Islamic marriage counseling, the proper person to come and sit with them, talk with them, identify who is wrong and who's right and what needs to be done. If this is done, then definitely, inshallah, they would have a win-win situation. But if they already went down this road and it didn't work, so is separation best or divorce? I don't believe that separation would be best unless the wife is not looking for any physical intimacy. She's not interested anymore. And unless the man gets married again. If he gets married again, then, and he agrees on keeping his wife, the mother of his children, not divorce her, and she's not interested in being divorced or getting married again, then this would work fine, inshallah.
Okay. We have Brother Muhammad from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have three questions.
Okay.
First question is, in Taraweeh, as I am not an Arabic speaker, is it allowed for me to hold the translation while the Imam
Okay.
recites the Quranic ayat? Second question is, after making ablution, wudu,
Okay.
is it does clipping nails make the wudu void, or does it degrade it?
Does what? Can you repeat the question, please?
Does it degrade my ablution?
What degrades your ablution?
The clipping nails.
Okay.
Okay, and the third question is moving the index finger during tashahhud. What is
Okay.
the ruling on it? Is it from Sunnah, or I want to know about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Muhammad from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia there. Sister Yasmin's second question is that she loaned money to a non-Muslim on an Islamic contract. She doesn't collect riba from him. She says, however, he has another loan from the bank, which he loaned to the bank, and he collects riba from it, and he repays her with that riba money. Is this acceptable?
What he does with the money, or where he gets the money from, that's his business. And initially, once you started the process of lending him, if you thought that he was going to use the money for permissible things, then your loan to him is permissible.
Okay.
Now, once he gives you the money back, it's not your problem where he got it back, because this is a lump sum of money that you lent someone, and now he's paying it back to you.
Okay.
But if you initially gave him the money knowing that he's going to do something haram, he's going to invest in a winery, for example, or he's going to buy something of haram nature, or deposit it in the bank and get interest out of it, then you are contributing with him in this process, and you should seek Allah's forgiveness. Nevertheless, giving back the money to you, this is your money, this is your halal money, either way.
Okay, this is a very hot question on the news as well here from Sister Hasina from UAE. She wants to know the ruling of the niqab. Some says it's compulsory, some says it's not compulsory. What's the real ruling?
It's an issue of dispute among scholars. And like all issues of dispute, we are, as Muslims, instructed to go back to the fundamentals, to the Quran and the Sunnah, to the source, the everlasting source of knowledge. Unlike some scholars nowadays who try to have the people divert their ways into looking into only the opinions of the schools of thought and neglect the Quran and Sunnah. And this is a devious way of undermining Islam. As Muslims, the most authentic opinion of scholars, when you go back to the Quran and Sunnah and monitor the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and go through the verses of the Quran, you realize that the niqab is a must and it is mandatory upon women. And this is the most authentic opinion, and that is why, this is the reason that even the non-Muslims are fighting it, because they know it is a sign of abiding by Islam, a sign of dignity. They don't fight those who are nude walking in the streets. They don't fight nude beaches. This is freedom. They may do whatever they want. Nobody goes and tells the Dalai Lama what to wear and what not to wear. But when it comes to this poor woman who chooses by herself, without any oppression or force, to cover her face from people looking at her, they prosecute her and they make a fuzz out of it.
Subhanallah. We have Brother Salim from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Hello.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Regarding one brother called you last week about this khatna of girls, babies, while they are born. In our South Asian culture, they used to tell, do this for this khatna for baby girls also.
Okay,
like
can you
boys.
explain? Can you explain to us what really the word means, please, Brother Salim?
Sorry?
What is it exactly, sapna?
Yeah, khatna for girls.
What is it really?
Are you asking about circumcision?
Yeah, circumcision
Okay.
kind of things they are doing for baby girls also.
Okay.
And they are forced to shave the girls' hair for in a week's time and all these things.
Okay.
Is there any authentic?
We'll try to cover it in this show, inshallah, Brother Salim.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair. We have Sister Raihana from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
I was very happy to see Sheikh Asim Hakim back here on Huda. I always watch him on Peace TV and Huda TV. May Allah give him jazai khair. I have 2-3 questions. First of all, I want my daughter to study Islamic studies. She can do PhD like that in Islamic studies, Quran and Sunnah. So I went to Makkah and Medina in Qura and Taiba University. It's very difficult there to get admission. So I need Sheikh Asim's advice that which is better for her after this. Is it better in Egypt or in Malaysia? And my second question is in Quran, Surah Al-Hamim Sajda, verse 9 and 10 talk about the creation of the heavens and earth. The the period is 2 days, 4 days like that, and in one place it is 6 days. So I was not able to understand. Could he clarify it? And my other question is in Arab News, Monday 3rd May, the interpretation of dream, I think, is a knowledge given by Allah. Brother Yusuf Al-Harthi is a Saudi dream interpreter. He is planning to start an institute which will, where he will graduate people in doing BA, MA in dream interpretation. So I want to know, is it correct what he is doing, or it is God gift and we cannot be pious and reach that level and attain it?
Okay.
So I want to ask about it. And brother, one last one, that Sheikh Abdurrahman Al-Barak in today's newspaper, he has given that, he said liberalization of women is a major outcome of enemy's plot, mingling of sexes, etc. We should support and help him as a ummah, as a whole, I think. So what is the view of Sheikh Asim Hakim? I want to know it. Jazakallah khair. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Barakallah fiki. That's Sister Raihana there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Brother Muhammad from the Kingdom, he says he wants to know if there is a non-Arab who doesn't understand Arabic language, if he can follow the Imam whilst reciting by the translation of the Quran.
Allah the Almighty commanded us that whenever we hear the Quran being recited, that we listen to it. Therefore, a person holding the Quran and reading the commentary is not listening to the Quran that's being recited. Therefore, it is not permissible for a person to open the commentary of the Quran while praying in Taraweeh or any other prayer and following with the Imam the translation, because this gets the prayer out of its context.
Okay, and a second question. After someone performs ablution, that's wudu, if he clips his nail, is his wudu invalid after this?
It is very important that you know the things that nullify your wudu. It is very important that you know the things that nullify your fasting. Because if you have this knowledge, anything else doesn't matter.
Yes.
So, if someone says clipping the nails is something of dispute, what about shaving the head? If you shave your head, so the hair that you wiped over is not there anymore. So does this nullify the wudu? If you know the things, the 5 things that nullifies wudu, then you definitely know that anything that comes out of these 5 things is not considered to be one of the things that nullifies wudu. And the answer of your question and my question is no. They do not affect your wudu. If you clip your nails, if you shave your head, this does not affect your wudu at all.
And moving the index finger in the prostration, that's his third question. What's the authentic ruling about this?
It's not during the prostration. It is between the 2 prostrations. When you are in the sitting position, and that is, let me rephrase that.
Yes.
It is during the tashahhud.
Yes.
When you are doing the first tashahhud or the second tashahhud, when you're sitting down. What is the ruling on that? We have to go back to the fundamentals. The Prophet said, ﷺ, pray as you have seen me pray. I wasn't there. I didn't see the Prophet ﷺ perform prayer, but the companions were. So if I go through the books of fiqh and I see one school of thought saying that you only have to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah once, and the other school of thought says no, you do that twice, wa ashhadu an Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, and another school says no, you don't do this, you just point all the way, and some of them make circles, and I'm confused. So what do? Go back to the books. Go back to the books of Sunnah. And you'll find that there are 2 hadiths. One by Wa'il ibn Hujr, may Allah be pleased with him. And the other is by Abdullah ibn Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father. And both of them reported, as in Sunan Tirmidhi and Abu Dawood and etc., they said the same hadith with a small difference. Hadith of Wa'il ibn Hujr, he said that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he sat down for tashahhud, he used to point out his index finger, he used to join the middle finger and the thumb, and he used to point out the index finger, moving it, supplicating with it, making dua with it. So he used to move it. Now this is what he told us. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the same thing, but he said that he used to point without moving. So scholars saw these 2 hadiths, and they said, well, one of them said, I saw him do. The other one said, I didn't see him do. So which one should we follow? Well, those who come with extra knowledge are to be followed. It's like someone saying that I've seen John kill Abdullah. And the other one says, I didn't see John kill Abdullah. The one who did not see does not have knowledge. The one who saw it has the knowledge. So the hadith of Wa'il ibn Hujr is an affirmative hadith. It's confirming that the Prophet used to move his index finger. So did he say when? No. Did he put a limit to that? No. That is why the scholars say, and this is the verdict or the ruling of Sheikh Al-Albani and also Sheikh Abu Ishaq Al-Huwaini and a lot of the scholars that follow the hadith, that when you sit for the tashahhud, you point your index finger and you do this from the very beginning till you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Just keep moving it in its place. The Prophet told us that it is more harmful over Satan than heated iron. So this is the sunnah way of doing it.
Okay, and we have Brother Salim here from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia asking about circumcision for the girls and shaving the girl's head after the 7th day. Is this authentic? Are there authentic narrations to support this?
Again, it's a huge issue of dispute among scholars. The most authentic opinion regarding the circumcision of boys, that it is mandatory. And the majority, if not all, scholars have agreed upon this. When it comes to a girl's circumcision, they differ. Some say it's mandatory, some say it's completely forbidden, and it's something to do with the customs of the pharaohs and so on. And the most authentic opinion is that it is permissible, it is recommended. If it is done, this is good. If not, this has nothing to do with sins, alhamdulillah. And it differs from one area to the other. In some cold areas, they may not need it. In some hot, warm areas, they may need it. At the end of the day, it's permissible, it's a sunnah. If you do it, you're rewarded. If you don't, there's nothing wrong with that. Regarding shaving the head, it's a different story. Because the hadith stated that on the 7th day, we should shave the head of the boy, and we should call him and give him a name, that is, and we should slaughter the sacrifice, the aqiqah. In one narration, the Prophet said, ﷺ, remove the filth from his head. What is meant by al-adha, or filth? Some said it's hair. Well, hair goes for both boys and girls. Some say it is what stuck to the child's skull after being so long in his mother's womb. So this goes for both, girls and boys. I believe, and this is my own opinion, that the most authentic opinion is that shaving the head is for both. It's healthier, and the child would not know the difference. In that early age of 7 days, after 1 month, they're all the same again. But the hair is healthier, the skull is cleaner, and inshallah, there's nothing wrong in that.
Okay, Sister Raihana says that she was trying a lot to find a place to study in Mecca and Medina for her daughter. But it was very difficult for her, so she wants a recommendation, the kingdom or Malaysia. Which is, do you advise her to take her daughter to study?
You have to ask someone who knows, because I don't know both countries. If studying in these two countries is taking place in a mixed environment, then studying in both environments is haram. Because we have to segregate men from women. If there's no free mixing, and you have to look into the curriculum that they teach, because some countries teach the aqeedah of al-asha'ira, which is not in accordance to what Ahl Sunnah and Jama'ah believe. And well, actually, let me rephrase that. The majority of countries teach this corrupt aqeedah, where they ignore all the attributes of Allah and only confirm 7 attributes. And they neglect the rest completely. And they distort the meanings of the Qur'an and the attributes of Allah in the Qur'an and the Sunnah as well. So if this is the case, no, your daughter should stay home, do homeschooling, listen to lectures, and contact shuyukh by phone or email, and learn from them, rather than getting masters and PhD in a corrupt society or corrupt environment. Or at least, maybe it would corrupt her own belief and creed of Allah the Almighty.
MashaAllah, very good answer. First time I've heard an answer about studying in different universities, MashaAllah. We have Brother Usman from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother, you're live.
وعليكم السلام مرحبا شيخ جزاكم الله خير على هذا البرنامج الطيب. Thank you for the good program.
You're welcome.
نحبك في الله يا شيخ.
جزاك الله خير يا أخي، أحبكم الله الذي أحببتنا فيه.
يا شيخ ألو، هل تسمعني؟
Yes, brother.
If someone, Sheikh, goes to sleep after Isha prayer, and then he lets the witr until before Fajr, within half an hour or more than 40 minutes, is this amal يعني جائز ولا?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Brother Uthman there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We'll take a short break here on Ask Huda, and we'll be back right after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We are excited to inform our viewers that the Quran in Depth with Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan will be filmed live starting on Mondays at 1800 GMT.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the Quran, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That we reveal from the Qur'an what is cure and mercy to the believers. So the Qur'an is the cure. Cure physically to the diseases physically in the body and in the heart. We were ordered to recite Surah Al-Fatiha in every time we stand in the Salah. Pillar of the Salah. We need to change our life according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, according to this book. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that the Qur'an is the thing between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever hold fast to it, he would never be led astray.
We will take your calls and answer any questions you may have, as well as help you in your journey to understand the Qur'an properly. We hope you will join Huda TV and Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan every Monday from 1800 GMT until 1900 GMT for the Qur'an in depth.
You know, sometimes it's important to take a break. We need to take a break. Take a break from what? From the everyday things to look at what we're really doing as Muslims. That's why we said we really need to have this program for you and for me to take a break right here on Huda TV. Stay with us because we've got a lot coming up on Take a Break.
I say that the translation has been indirectly influenced with the Israelite narrative.
We haven't faced any problems in our preparations.
We can't call it the wise Hajj. In Egypt, you have a huge amount of initiative going on in terms of developing qualifications in different parts of the system.
Reading helps you gain knowledge, but saving the net doesn't help you at all.
They are all welcome to participate in the discussion and the debate about the development of qualifications.
What types of books our children do or should read?
Join me for further discussion of Focus Point.
Huda, a light in every home.
Comes to you the truth and the attribute of the one who created you, that he's one and alone running this universe, that he doesn't become born, he doesn't die, he doesn't eat and go to the bathroom. This is not God.
The problem here is it doesn't make sense. Who was Jesus worshiping? Because it's recorded in the Gospels. Despite all of the other issues about the Gospels, we put those aside. We just say it's mentioned there that Jesus worshiped God.
One who protects us from hunger.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're watching Ask Huda. Quick reminder of our telephone numbers 0020238555 248 or 249, or you can write to us at ask, that's ask, @huda.tv. Sister Rayhana's second question, she says in Surah As-Sajdah, verse 9 and 10, talks about the creation of the earth in 2 or 4 or 6 days. She wants some clarification.
I believe that this is not in Surah As-Sajdah, but rather in Surah Fussilat.
Okay.
And Allah the Almighty is telling us that He created the heavens and the earth and gave them their provision in 6 days. Now, a lot of scholars interpreted this and tried to say why. As long as Allah Azza wa Jal can say to things, be and they are. They can immediately happen. First of all, this is Allah. He's not one of us. So we don't question His deeds.
Yes.
We know that He is capable of everything. We know that He created the heavens and the earth alone. And He did not have anyone with Him, and He does not need anyone with Him. He does not have anyone to help Him. And He doesn't need anything. But why then? Well, scholars gave a lot of interpretations. Some said that because He wanted to perfect these heavens and the earths while the angels were looking, and they would appreciate and realize the value of time in doing this perfection. And other scholars gave different opinions, so that Allah Azza wa Jal would show the humans who would come that this takes time if you want to perfect this. But all of these are allegations.
Yes.
They don't have any proof. Why was it done in this fashion? Allah knows best. We know that Allah is capable of doing it in less than a flash time that takes lightning to travel.
Yes.
In a fraction of a second, that's even too long. We know that Allah is capable of doing this, but Allah has His wisdom, and Allah has His power, and we believe in that, and we have no right to question Allah's rulings over this issue.
Okay, her third question, she says, sometime a couple of days back, someone started to interpret dreams, and she mentioned the name. I didn't get the question quite correctly, but what she wants, in the end, she wants to know what is the correct opinion in terms of interpreting dreams and so forth.
I think she was referring to an article that was on Arab News, which is a newspaper in Saudi Arabia, and it raises a lot of question marks, this newspaper, because it usually gives the wrong Islamic information. And they never put the proper Islamic information in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah.
Yes.
And I think, if I understood her question correctly, she was asking about a thesis that a person prepared and got his PhD from the university.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
If I recall it.
Yes, that's correct. No.
And she's saying, is this a science or is it a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal? Well, it is both. It's a mixture of both. Scholars say that dream interpretation should not be done by ignorant people. They have to have wisdom. They have to have proper Islamic knowledge, and they have to be God-fearing. They must fear Allah Azza wa Jal, because you don't want, at the end of the day, your dream to be interpreted in the wrong way. Because there is a hadith that states that when you ask about dream interpretation, ask those who love you. And the dream itself has to be positive, not something that you hate. Because if you ask someone and he interprets it in a different fashion or manner to what is positive and good for you, this might happen. This might take place. So it's a mixture of both. And most likely this gentleman who made this thesis for his PhD is not himself interpreting dreams. He's just looking at it as a scientific issue. What about the things that Muhammad bin Sirin said? And there's a big book, volume on dream interpretation. It's alleged to be written by him, though it's not authentic. Other scholars who used to interpret dreams, and it was astonishing how it came to reality. But again, these are all hearsay, and it is not as authentic as hadiths, for example. So we cannot be 100% sure that this is true or not. Therefore, I believe the answer for her question is that it's just a thesis. It's not from a person who is experienced in it. It's just a scientific thesis studying this phenomena and the rules governing it, and Allah knows best.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We have Sister Iyam from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, you're live and ask us your questions, please.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, actually, my question is that reading La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu means 1,25,000 times in a gathering purposely. Is it okay or not?
Okay. So thank you very much for calling in there. We have Sister Abdullah as well from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam. I just have one question.
Okay.
Can we get up at 1/3 of the night and pray tahajjud and then sleep and get up for Fajr on time? Is it okay to sleep after tahajjud?
Okay.
Jazakallah.
That's Sister Abdullah there from Qatar. Uthman from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, he says, so if someone goes to sleep and leaves the witr until like 40 minutes just before Salat al-Fajr, that's his question, if this is permissible to do.
It's even more permissible to postpone your witr until 1 minute before Adhan al-Fajr. So the whole last third of the night is a place, it's a blessed place for praying night prayer and offering witr. And the time ends just when the Imam or the Mu'adhin says Allahu Akbar for the Fajr prayer. So even if you postpone it until the last minute, this is permissible.
Okay, and Sister EM from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, she mentioned the dua that goes something like Subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin for 1,000 times. Is this any authentic hadith that supports this?
This dua was said, and I mentioned this last time in last program, by Prophet Yunus, who was swallowed by the whale. And this is the dua that whenever a person says it in a calamity, Allah would relieve him from it. La ilaha illa anta subhanak inni kuntu min al-zalimin. And the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, that whenever you sit in a gathering and you talk about worldly things,
yes,
and at the end you say, La ilaha illa anta subhanak inni kuntu min al-zalimin, this would erase these worldly things that you did not mention Allah's name in. But saying it 3 times, 5 times, a gazillion times, this is all baseless. There's nothing in the Sunnah that states saying it 1,000 times. Not to my knowledge that the figure 1,000 is mentioned with any supplication or dua, except with the number of verses of the Quran that a person recites at night prayer.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We have Sister Muhammad from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Questions, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I see you most of the time in Peace TV. Okay? Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. Now I'm at Huda TV, inshallah.
Huda TV again. Anyway, I want to ask you one question. Regarding my son and my daughter-in-law, she's working in the Rubawi Bank. Okay? Now they are deciding to go to Umrah.
Okay.
So I'm allowed to go for Umrah with their money or no?
Where are they working?
Interspaced Bank.
Huh?
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Sister Muhammad there from the UAE. We have Sister Sarah as well from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please. Go ahead. Sister Sarah, you with us? I think we have some technical difficulties. I think we have some technical difficulties with the line there from Sister Sarah. Sister Abdullah asks, she says, is it someone allowed to pray the night prayer, which is the tahajjud, then sleep and then get up for Salatul Fajr? Is this something advisable to do?
Yes, it is advisable because the Prophet used to do this, alayhi salatu. He used to sleep half of the night and then pray 1/3 of the night and then sleep 1/6 of the night. So this is part of the Sunnah. There's nothing wrong in doing that, providing that you know that you're going to wake up for Fajr. But if you are almost 100% sure that once you hit the sack and sleep, you're not going to wake up until like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, then no, it is not advisable for you to go to bed afterwards.
Okay, and Sister Muhammad, the last question there, she says her son and daughter-in-law, they're working at the bank, Interspace Bank?
Yes, Rabawi.
Okay. She wants to know if she's allowed to go to Umrah with them using their money.
Well, she is not the end user. She is on the receiving end. So if they are donating their haram money to her as a gift, it becomes halal for her. It is haram upon them. It's haram for them to work in such a bank, or for the wife, that is, to work in such a bank and collect the money, which is an interest-based bank that deals in riba. And definitely, most likely, she is working in a mixed environment with other men, and this is also not permissible. So it is haram for her to work. It's haram for her husband to approve of that. But once they get the money, which is haram, and they give it to you as a gift, it becomes halal for you. Therefore, I see no problem in her going for Umrah with that money.
Okay, let's take some of the pending questions, and I'm sure some of the viewers are waiting for us for the pending questions here. Brother Ahmed from Qatar also asked, can a Muslim woman take off her hijab in front of non-Muslim women?
It's an issue of dispute, but the most authentic opinion of scholars is that, yes, she can take off her hijab in front of non-Muslim women.
Okay, and Sister Afia from the Kingdom, she says, is a woman who is in her menses allowed to read Quran from a digital device or from a mobile?
The Quran which is kept in a PDA, in a laptop, in a desktop, on your phone, is not the actual Quran that is written on paper, because the minute you turn it off, it is encrypted, and there are no letters anymore.
Yes.
So that is why it is permissible for a woman in her menses to recite the Quran from that device. It is permissible for a woman in her menses to hold a CD with the full Quran on, and even to go to the bathroom with a CD with the full Quran on, because again, it's digital. It's not in letters, or it's not in the writing form.
Okay, and our second question, is she allowed to read books, like books of tafsir, for example, which contain the verses of Quran? The woman in menses as well.
If I recall her question, I have a very, very short term memory, but I believe that she was asking about a verse of the Quran that she may say as dua. But I may be wrong.
Yeah.
So to answer her question, while a sister is in her menses, she is allowed to supplicate with the verses of the Quran. She's allowed to read books or a newspaper with a verse of the Quran, because she would not be reciting the Quran. It's a verse.
Okay.
And she is also allowed to recite before going to bed آية الكرسي قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ بالفلق قل أعوذ بالناس قل يا الكافرون سورة تبارك سورة الزمر سورة الإسراء, all of these that the Prophet used to recite عليه السلام, and it would not be considered as reciting the Quran, it would be considered part of the adhkar of going to bed.
Okay, and her last question is that she says some sisters beautify themselves for their husbands, but when it's a very tedious task to style their hair in such a manner. She says, is it permissible for them to make ghusl without undoing the hairstyle, following the hadith of the Prophet, which allowed women not to undo the braids when making ghusl?
This is permissible, providing that she ensures that the hair, or that is, that the water reaches the roots of the hair. So if her skull is soaked with water and the hair is washed, she doesn't have to undo her braids. She can have them on, but she has to make sure that the water had reached her skull.
Okay, and we have a question here from Khadija from the USA, and she says, can a non-Muslim woman perform cupping on me?
Again, this would call for part of her body to be exposed, and that is usually the back of the neck or the shoulders. And this is permissible for medical reason. So if a non-Muslim woman does the cupping, which is known as hijama, which is sucking the blood, the rotten blood from special areas of the body, this is permissible and there's nothing wrong in that, inshallah.
And she said, does it have to be performed at a specific time of the month?
Yes, it has to be performed in a specific time of the month, and there are certain days of the week that one should avoid. Unfortunately, I don't remember them. Maybe if you remind me next time we meet, inshallah, I'll write it down to you and tell you. It has to do with the lunar days of the lunar month. And the weekdays, also, I will bring it and mention it, inshallah, next time.
Okay, and her last question is, if someone speaks during the khutbah, does he or she have to pray the Dhuhr prayer instead? Because she said that she read that speaking during the khutbah nullifies the Salat al-Jam'ah.
It does not nullify the Jum'ah, and none of the scholars that I know have said this, but they say that the reward is gone. So if someone speaks while the Imam is giving or delivering his khutbah, and he speaks or says Assalamu alaikum, or what's the time, or any other comment of such nature, his reward of the Jum'ah is gone. But does he have to pray 4 rak'ahs? No. He prays the 2 rak'ahs with the Imam, and his prayer is correct and valid, but he has lost the reward for it.
Okay, and we have Sister Mariam here from the UAE. She says, when we say salam or taslim to both sides in the prayer, right and left, are we saying it to angels?
Well, there is nothing to state this in the Sunnah. We're just commanded to say Salamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to the right and to the left, and it has nothing to do with the angels. And I'll add an extra bit of information, and that is, if you, without turning to the left and right, or that is right and left, if you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, this is enough. You don't have to look even, because this is part of the Sunnah.
Yes.
And it's not mandatory to look to your right or to their left.
Okay, and Sister Sumaya says, how can we submit ourselves totally to God? She says she heard the statement a lot, but she wants to know how can she do it.
It's a number of levels. The most and highest and best level is that you are in full synchronization, sort of to say, in full compliance with the Quran and the Sunnah, and in full acceptance to whatever Allah decrees upon you.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're like this, then nothing harms you on this earth, because you are the true servant of Allah. And Allah the Almighty told us in the authentic Hadith Qudsi that my servant would not do anything more beloved to me than by performing the mandatory things that I have made mandatory upon him on time. And he would continue to seek my pleasure through offering voluntary prayers, voluntary acts of worship until I love him.
Mm-hmm.
If I love him, then I will become his sight, his hearing. I will guide him through all of his things. And this is the highest level.
Yes.
And this is the total submission to Allah the Almighty. We have then other levels of people depending on how they're committed to Allah's religion.
Unfortunately, we are out of time today. Sheikh Asim, Jazakallah khair for being with us here on Ask Huda. And I just want to apologize to the viewers for cutting the telephones very early today, because we really wanted to get rid of some of the pending questions we had for quite a while. And if you have more questions you would like to ask, you can always send that email at ask@huda.tv. That's ask@huda.tv. And don't forget, you can still support us, programs like Ask Huda or any other programs on Huda TV, by writing to us at support@huda.tv. And don't forget, you can always check our websites for updates and things, and you can even comment on our website and become a very active member. Just visit our website www.huda.tv. I leave you in the care of Allah, and until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If my love is attached to thee, then from sins I will be free. Each time my heart will beat, your name will resound with heat. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate